I have developed much more strength in the ability to not be as tempted or to say no to things with friends or family are getting something at a restaurant. I'm having the salad where in the past it hasn't been. The why, taking more ground and just believing in the literal moments that I don't have to gluttonize, gouge myself, perhaps as I've done in the past, and then I regroup and it's a spin cycle, you know,
Yeah.
and so that becomes less, and that is a new way of living life. There is benefits that are motivators. Obviously, the clothing and the compliments are surprising and encouraging, making you not want to go back. Seeing old pictures really was scary. Having you in the very beginning say that, well, by definition, David, you are obese, to have that word leveled at me.
I knew you could take it. I knew you could take it.
Well, I could take it, and I knew I could, and I appreciated you giving it and delivering it, not being afraid to give it to me, because that's what I want. I mean, I'm here to live the hard. So out of a frustration with not having success over the last 10 years, having visions of seeing myself differently, but not being able to get there, not being able to let go of the food addictions of certain Starbucks drinks or ice cream or chips and salsa, which were my particular triggers. The belief that, well, maybe I can just lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds. But what really challenged me when I was, I guess, 40, 50 pounds overweight is this feeling of heaviness, the inability to, I guess, feel alive. People always talk about in your 50s, as I'm 53, joints in your knees starting to, you feel it. And I've always had a pretty good, healthy, physical, athletic body, but I was starting to feel something in my knees. And that was a concern. The clothing not fitting. My quest to not have the belly that my dad did, and speaking that, and then having it actually start to unfold with my children calling me out and my wife calling me out, and me feeling like almost like a liar, or feeling like I'm not going to do that, and here I am doing it and not knowing what to do about that. Being on medication and trying to get off of that, even being on a CPAP machine, breathing, and cholesterol medication. So just all of the health dynamics to be able to be motivated to be there for my kids, 2 boys, currently 12 and 10, and my wife here in our 50s, was just, I guess, at the final wall, like looking for a solution. My wife had already done that. I dabbled in it, but I never fully dove in. And then when I connected in alignment with you, Josh, knowing who you are and where I'm at, especially with the things that we're involved in, there was a sense of a higher level of commitment, a sense of hope that this is actually possible. But in the very beginning, when you called me out and said that I was, by definition, just looking at the numbers, 5'9.5" at 220 or so, that technically would be considered obese, that word got my attention. And it was, I guess it was enough for me to say, okay, I can't give up, and I'm going to try something.
When you got to this point now in your life, right, like 4 months later, after 4 months of going down this journey, like what shifts have happened in the last few months, like physically and circumstantially, with the changes that you've made?
So when you said, when I asked how long is this going to take in the beginning, you said about 120 days. And that was hard for me to believe. It was hard for me to believe that I could lose like 40 pounds. That was, it was just since I have had no success previously, and it's just been slowly creeping up, for 20, 30 years, it was hard to believe that this is possible. But I was pleasantly surprised, and have enjoyed wearing old clothes, getting compliments from people that I don't expect, like, wow, look, you're looking great. And it's almost as if they are not appeasing me or just trying to be nice to me, but they're seeing a dramatic difference, which is really telling, because that then tells me that there is really a before and after, and that I really was in a bad spot, which I knew, but maybe I thought I was fooling people or not as bad. But then to look at myself and to see like different definition with abs, which I haven't seen since college, very inspiring, very hopeful. And as it slowly went down, I started hitting certain thresholds and certain marks, I became even more hopeful and more motivated. And as I talked to you, Josh, to kind of inspire me that this really is possible. So there was the 200 threshold, the 190 was a pretty big threshold, because I have been able to get down there at some point. And so the joints in the knees are gone, whatever pain was there. So it was just a sense of feeling more free physically.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. It's awesome. And can you share with me just a couple of things that you talked about, like how it's affected other people in your life, and how it's changed your circumstances, even outside of the physical benefits to you personally?
So one of my biggest challenges is my older son, Luke, who's gotten a little husky, and it's been really challenging, because I've been in some ways hard or challenging him to get fit and lose weight, and then I haven't been the role model. And so when I finally have done it, it has caused him to see the possibility. There has been some shift, but not a whole lot. It ebbs and flows, and trying to trust in the midst of where he's at when he does his exercise and as he fights his battles. My other son, who's 10, who is more inclined to want to work out and be more fit, has really been very inspiring for me, as he puts his arms around me and says, Dad, I can put my hands all around you now, or before I couldn't. And so that's pretty cool, because he likes to hug. He's a hugger.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
those are a couple of the benefits, and friends have really acknowledged the difference. So I'm looking forward to posting back on Facebook kind of before and after.
Yeah, great, man. So last question is, when you look back at yourself 4 months ago, like you said, you were kind of skeptical about like how much progress you could make. And I remember you even said, well, my reasonable goal, I think reasonably what I'd like to do. And do you remember what I said?
Um, you
In so many
challenged
words.
me. I don't remember the actual words.
Yeah, well, I said, I don't want you to be reasonable. I said, I want you to be bold. And that's kind of
Yes.
my brand is like, is living boldly. And I was like, what is it you really would like to achieve? Not what is it you think you can achieve? And I remember you said like, well, I was, a really great to health, a really great state in my college days, and I haven't really been back there. And I said, well, you can get back there. You can do that.
I do remember you sharing now the word bold. And the reason I remember that is it's a part of my kind of contract. Bold, courageous man of integrity is what I kind of focus on. But the word bold is the literal definition of my last name, which is Baldwin. Baldwin means bold. And so there was something that struck with key words that then allowed me to say, I'm more than this, and I'm more than reasonable, and I have conquered things in my life, and I can do this. So there was a sense of sustained hope in the midst of that.
Yeah. And lastly, just what would you tell someone who was kind of at that state that you were earlier this year, of like feeling like, I really want something more, but I'm just questioning because I haven't been able to achieve it in the past. Like nothing's really worked for me before. What would you tell them when they're in that state of just questioning, like, I've been doing this a long time. I've been living a long time. I've tried things, haven't really worked for me. Like, is it really worth getting on the saddle again and trying it? Or like, is this approach really going to be any different than anything I've done before? Can I really break through that barrier? Like, what would you tell?
Two things for me that come to mind are, one, I believe that I could do it kind of by myself because I've always managed my body my whole life, and I can take care of this. And then when I finally came to grips that, I need a sense of support, accountability, knowing that I'm going to be asked, challenged, there's more at stake. That was one of the game changers for me. The other is the feeling. And I guess when I would have and have kind of gone off the rails and had a big ice cream pint night or a big venti white chocolate mocha extra whatever ever that I used to get, that the feeling in the belly, it was just a temporary sensation. It gave me some caffeine, but then the after effect was this was not a good feeling. And so as I started to have different feelings, as I started to have some more traction, that new feeling was starting to win over the old feeling. And so I was starting to have a little more strength there. So those would be the two things that helped me overcome it as I've tried for years.
Can you tell me just like a last closing word about that process of, like, don't have a lot of extra money to throw at solutions, don't have any time, feels like don't have enough time to even sleep. How am I going to go on a health journey? It's been challenging. How has that experience been for you?
Yeah, I guess financially looking at, a big chunk of money going out every month in one lump sum, and then thinking about all the other money that I'd been spending by eating out, there wasn't really much of a financial difference if you added it all up, especially going to Starbucks. It really adds up quite quickly. So I was able to negotiate with myself the idea of the financial aspect. And then, yeah, the time traveling with family on I guess a 14, 15 state road trip, and working from the road and having mice in the house and just chaos and uncertainty with finances and future. What I guess helped me was I just kept busy and I kept moving forward, and I didn't have time to wallow or catch myself as maybe I have had in the past. And that was what I think was very helpful. And I was surprised, and I could go to bed with a little bit of hunger in my belly, and that would be okay, as a little example.
Good, man. Well, yeah, honor to you too for sticking out with the travel and all the disruption in your schedule, and not making excuses for it, but continuing to just participate in the process. And I appreciate you letting me and trusting me to help support you through that journey and that process, and walk with you through it, man.
You're absolutely welcome, and I thank you, Josh, because yeah, I think your style, your delivery, your authenticity, your willingness to stay and listen to someone who's maybe communicating emotionally spinning, which others might run away because it's exhausting. You're able to just kind of stay in that fire of emotional throwing up, I guess you could say, and to say, hold on, there's more here. Stay in this. We got this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of our time in Frisco where I was just all over the place on that football field. But I appreciate you, and yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I do believe that this is going to be a long-term strategy, because there's enough in place with accountability and family and future that it makes more sense.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, God bless, David. Thanks for chatting.
My pleasure, Josh. Thank you, man. Have a good one.